When we were young and attending school, apart from learning academic knowledge, schools often emphasized moral education. Many schools even recorded students' merits and demerits based on their behavior. Good deeds were rewarded, while misbehavior led to warnings or punishments. Through such systems, students were guided toward building upright character. However, when we grow up and enter society, things change. Unless we commit a major crime and face legal consequences or achieve something extraordinary worthy of national recognition, small acts of kindness or mistakes often go unnoticed. But what if I told you that every single act, good or bad, is recorded somewhere? Would you believe it? This brings us to the story of Jim Woodford, affectionately called Jim, who was born into a Catholic family in Canada. Jim's father passed away when he was only 2 years old, leaving the family financially strained. Yet, thanks to the love of his mother and grandparents, Jim experienced a happy childhood despite lacking his father's presence. From a young age, Jim was fascinated by airplanes and dreamed of becoming a pilot. At 18, his mother saved enough money to send him to flight school, where he realized his dream. Not only did he become a pilot, but he also earned a handsome salary. During the booming 1980s, Jim wisely invested his savings in technology, amassing significant wealth. His opulent lifestyle earned him the nickname Diamond Jim. Jim met his wife Lorraine through their shared love of horses, and together they built a loving family. For Jim, wealth equaled freedom. He worked tirelessly to provide his wife with everything she desired, believing this was the ultimate expression of love and dedication. Despite his professional success and financial abundance, Jim often felt a mysterious emptiness deep inside. His response was to chase even more wealth, buying faster planes and more luxurious cars, believing material possessions could fill the void. Unbeknownst to him, this pursuit of excess was slowly turning him into an arrogant person. In 2009, Jim's life took a drastic turn when he was diagnosed with Guillain-Barré syndrome, a rare and incurable neurological disorder that causes muscle paralysis and excruciating pain. For someone who had never faced failure, Jim was in denial at first. But as his condition worsened to the point where he couldn't even get out of bed, he had no choice but to confront reality. Although Jim's wealth allowed him to explore treatments worldwide, there was no cure. Eventually, he was granted access to an experimental medication from the UK, which provided brief relief from the pain. However, the medication's effects were short-lived, and Jim began secretly taking doses far beyond what his doctor prescribed, desperate to reclaim a semblance of normal life. This lifestyle continued for 3 years until one day in 2014. Jim, while inspecting one of his properties, decided to take an entire bottle of medication. Instead of relieving his pain, it triggered a catastrophic reaction. His legs felt like they were on fire, and the sensation quickly spread to his chest, leaving him unable to breathe. In that moment, Jim realized he was dying. As his vision blurred, he uttered a plea he had never said before. "God, please forgive me." When Jim awoke, he found himself outside his body, gazing at his lifeless form slumped over the steering wheel. Panic-stricken, he attempted to return to his body but was unsuccessful. Instead, he began to ascend. As a seasoned pilot, Jim had a keen sense of altitude and distance. He looked up and saw a golden circle of light, about 60 feet in diameter, above him. His body tilted at a 45-degree angle, propelling him toward the light at incredible speed. As he traveled through what seemed like a tunnel of light, stars flickered past him. He soon reached a misty door, beyond which lay a world of breathtaking beauty. The grass was vibrantly green, each blade flawless. In the distance, a boundless sea of flowers bloomed in colors Jim had never seen. Every object emitted a radiant glow, yet there was no sun or compass to indicate direction. To his left, Jim noticed a barren, scorched land with a deep, fiery abyss. Out of curiosity, he approached it, and was horrified to see a monstrous creature emerge from the flames. This being, emanating hatred and carrying the anguished screams of souls, began advancing toward him. Terrified, Jim fled, crying out, "God save me!" Instantly, 3 radiant beings descended, merging their light to form a protective barrier around Jim. The creature retreated in fear. These beings, Jim realized, were angels, majestic figures with golden wings, long silver hair, and violet eyes. One of the angels embraced him, transmitting warmth and reassurance through telepathy. "James, do not fear. We have always been your friends." The angels guided Jim through heavenly realms, showing him breathtaking landscapes and even a sanctuary for souls of children who had died prematurely. He learned that these innocent lives were especially cherished by God. Eventually, the angels presented Jim with the Book of Life, which documented every good deed he had done. To his shame, the book was as thin as a restaurant menu. Despite his material success, Jim realized he had done little to help others. Overwhelmed with regret, he knelt before a divine presence radiating pure love. God spoke to him gently. "James, my child, your time has not yet come. Return and share the wonders you have seen with your brothers and sisters." Although Jim pleaded to stay, the angels escorted him back through the dark tunnel. After 11 hours of being declared brain dead in the hospital, Jim miraculously woke up, much to the astonishment of the medical staff and his wife. His first words to Lorraine were, "I saw God, and he has horses." Following this experience, Jim's illness was inexplicably healed. He dedicated his life to spreading the message of love, redemption, and the reality of heaven. He vowed to fill his book of life with so many good deeds that it would take a crane and several angels to lift it. Jim's story reminds us that every act of kindness, no matter how small, is recorded. It echoes the teachings of various cultures and faiths, which emphasize the importance of living a virtuous life. As the saying goes, do not dismiss small good deeds, for they all add up to something greater. So, what will your book of life look like?